Hello and welcome to our second episode of Leon Leadership Podcast. I just wanted to share with you guys today a quote from my friend and one of my inspirations for doing the blog Leon Leadership Group, David Dantes. He always says to me, every day is a great day to learn something new. And under that thought, I learned something new today, something interesting. The lack of communication in a team can really make a difference. How we say things, how we express ourselves makes a difference. I've been listening to probably, I can almost call him the father of the leadership movement, Dale Carnegie, in his book, How to Influence People, How to Make Friends and Influence People. The way that we talk to others, even through the phone, they can tell if we're smiling, if we're having a good time, if we're being positive, and they're not even seeing us. And to me, that is very interesting because I've always thought that, yeah, people can tell if you are happy or sad or upset through the phone. And this book was written in the early 1900s, so it's way, way over 100 years old. Now, considering that fact and considering the fact that so many other books of psychology, behavioral science, or behavioral psychology also talks about the importance of the way we talk. Sometimes that old saying is not what we say, but how we say it. That is a very true thing. Apparently, recently, somebody got called out at their job for going to the restroom and missing from their machine. Now, I really don't pay attention to anything around me when I'm working because I am concentrated on what I do. I take pride in my work, and I consider that if I have time to see what other people are doing, that means I'm not doing my job. Now, when this was brought up to my attention, I tried speaking to that coworker, and they got upset. They were very upset, and I said, "Well, let me tell you what. Do you have a pattern? Is there a pattern that they have seen that you have not noticed? Do they come by and you're not in your machine a lot, by any chance?" And the more I talked to him using the techniques from Dale Carnegie and other books that I've recently read and listened to, he opened up to me. He's not very happy at his job, and it all boils down to lack of communication. I said to him, I said, well, perhaps it would be best if next time they come up to you and say, you know, we really need you to do good in that machine today. We are counting on you to produce enough parts for the next operation or the next process of operation to be able to continue building the parts. So if you need to go to the restroom or drink water, let us know. We will cover you so that way you don't feel pressured. And let me tell you what, his face lit up with a smile. See, the key point was communication. If proper communication would have been done, he would not have felt singled out or called out on something that is common. I mean, if you have to use the restroom, you have to use the restroom. It is a right as a human being. But it got me thinking, work ethics. It seems to me that in today's society, work ethics are not what they used to be. Now, I am 40 years old. I spent all my life primarily around older people than me. I've never really liked hanging around people my age. I always enjoyed the wisdom and the stories of older people. Plus, I always found them funnier, and you could truly be yourself around them. I mean, the things that they say to you as a kid in order to get you, well, at least in the Cuban community, to get you talking. I mean, it's amazing. But either way, back to the point. It seems that today's society, including my generation, we feel entitled to everything. If we get a degree, we deserve to get paid because, hey, we have a degree. But a degree does not make you an expert. A degree does not make you a better person in that field. I honestly believe that we need to stop and consider the fact that experience is as useful as academics. For example, I am currently going to Southern New Hampshire University online for my bachelor's in computer science with connection to software engineering, which I enjoy very much. But ever since I started the journey of really focusing on leadership and leadership training and how to help others, and I have been enjoying it so much that I said, you know what? I was going to make my bachelor's in mathematics with a minor in psychology. But I got in touch with my advisor, academic advisor, and I said, I just want to do a bachelor's degree in computer science with connection to software engineering and a bachelor's degree in psychology. And I have not looked back. I am really enjoying it. I've been reading more psychology books. It's beneficial to me because I myself suffer from mental health issues such as bipolar and manic depression, and as many of people of my age and even older, ADHD as well. And considering the fact that I'm seeing more and more the need to have a new group of leaders, a younger generation of leaders that can relate better to this generation, my generation and the generation of my kids. There's a disconnect between my parents' generation and my generation that they see us as being lazy or as not as motivated as they were because, I mean, truly, a lot of us have to still live with our parents or with our in-laws because we can't afford to buy a house or pay rent on our own. Child care alone is expensive. So it seems to be getting harder and harder to actually try to make it on your own. Now, this is not a complaint session. This is not a complaint episode. By no means. If anything, is a realization of the fact that this generation feels the way it feels, and it is the way it is, because it has become a learned behavior. Yes, it has become a learned behavior. And it goes both ways. For example, I've heard on my job people that are 50, 60 years old, still working, and they complain about the same things that people my age and younger complain about. If they hear that the CEO got a bonus, well, why does he get a bonus? Why don't we get a bonus? We do all the work and he's getting a bonus. Yeah, that's not fair. See, that is a sign of entitlement or a talk of entitlement of its own. So, to be honest, I've come to this conclusion. Your work ethics is the key to your success. Now, you might think, "Oh, why work so hard for a company that doesn't care about me?" I mean, obviously, you're doing harder work than the CEO is doing. But this is the thing. Do you know the work ethics of the CEO? Do you know what took him to be there? Do you know the journey? How many years he had to study? How many years he actually had to run a machine, learn the foundations? Or maybe he just have great people skills and is able to talk his way through anything. Either way, I guarantee you the path to his success was not easy. Because unless if he was entitled to that position, he had to work for it. And his work ethics was what got him there. So keep that in mind when I say we need better work ethics. You work hard, not for the company that you're working for, because obviously you're just a number. In all honesty, I have a background in accounting. When an accountant is looking at payroll or just the breakdown of the accounts and receivables and payables, they're just numbers to us. Yeah, they might have a name here and a name there, but the name is attached to a number that is displayed to another number, and that's at the end a number. Unless if we're doing a disclosure of the numbers, then we have to use letters. But other than that, sorry to make it sound so funny, but yeah, in reality, we need to focus on the fact that our work ethics have gone down. You work hard not for the company. You work hard for yourself. Think about that. You work hard for yourself because you have the opportunity to show others that you care. Not about the company, but about yourself, your work ethics. See, might not have realized this, but that coworker, that supervisor, that plant manager might not always be in the same company. They might move on to another company. They might open their own company. And you might end up applying there. And guess what? They'll remember the work ethics you had in the other company. So while you were upset that the CEO of your previous company was getting that big bonus and you got nothing, and you went complaining and you stopped working so hard because, hey, I am entitled to the same benefits. Well, they will remember that. And when you walk in that door for the interview and they see you, because they might not remember your name, but they will remember your face and they'll go, thank you for coming. And as soon as you walk out the door, they'll say, no, I know him. He really doesn't like to work. His work ethics are poor. So how can we fix that? How can we improve our work ethics? Well, this is where Leon Leadership Group comes into play. The main mission for us is to empower leaders. We don't want followers. The other two co-founders with me, they are in the same mindset as me, that we need more leaders. A company that has multiple leaders, I was saying, if 90% of the employees are leaders, that will be a very successful company. As a matter of fact, if 90%, well, let's break it down like this. If out of 100 employees, 90 of them are leaders, the other 10 are probably in management. And that was a leadership joke, by the way. Yes. In the concept or in the field that I am currently working in is manufacturing, and we run machines and we fabricate parts. I'm not going to get in details, but I was a group leader and I noticed a fact or I noticed something unique. If we would have one operator in each machine that took initiative, the numbers of those machines were better. Yet, when we had a person that felt entitled in one of those machines, the numbers were not that good. No matter what we did. I mean, no matter if we tried giving overtime when they wanted it, because they were begging for overtime, and then we would stretch out and say, hey, you know what, man? We hear you. You've been working hard. We'll make it happen. They'll show up for maybe 2 days in a row, and then all of a sudden, oh, I got this, I got that. Excuses started happening because they had the money that they wanted, and as soon as they ran out of the money, then they started asking for overtime again. See, that is poor work ethics. How can you rely on a person like that? You truly can't. And that is when I really, really started focusing. The supervisor that I had at that time, I had an issue in a machine, and they pointed out to me, they said, why don't you stand back and look at that machine? See what's going on. And folks, believe it or not, after just 2 minutes of looking at it, I realized what the problem was. The two operators kept constantly talking to each other and not operating the machine. Now, you might think, Orlando, why do you care about that? I mean, that's not your money. Is that company money? Is that money that the CEO was going to make in a bonus? Well, guess what? Part of my job as a group leader is to make sure that the production in those machines are being reached. So their poor work ethics reflects on me. Because now my supervisor is going to ask me, why is it that that machine is not producing? And I better have a good answer. Because if I don't have a good answer, my supervisor's boss is going to ask them. And you see how the ripple effects happen? It goes both ways. It goes up the ladder and down the ladder. And at the end of the day, yes, my supervisor might get in trouble. I might get in trouble. But those two operators will not have a job. What I will have, and my supervisor and the person above them, is experience on telling why people are not reaching their production numbers in those machines. See, everything, as my friend David Dente says, everything or every day is an opportunity to learn something new. It's a great day to learn something new, and it is extremely true. Having ADHD has helped me actually look back and think of things. Even when I'm not doing anything, I get that, sorry, this is my phone going off. But I've noticed that I keep thinking about a certain situation and it stays in my mind and it keeps going and going. And even though I'm doing something else and it seems like I forgot, all of a sudden I have that boom, light bulb moment. And I realize, oh, maybe I should have handled this differently. Oh, maybe I should have done that differently. Well, folks, when I took my first programming class for computer science, I failed it miserably. And this was a 38-year-old man trying to learn computer science, scripting, after doing 17 years of roofing. So it was not a very easy transition. Now I was able to learn it. And when I took my class again, I aced it. And then I started taking more programming classes and more languages, Python, C, JavaScript, and many others. And as I learned the operating procedure of how to write a script, how to put all my thoughts together, I realized I could use that same concept at work. So I started coming in at work and I would put everything into proper boxes, basically. And all of a sudden, all my machineries that I was overseeing were having better production. Hey, and you know what? I thought a genius moment. Man, this computer science degree is really going to help me in logistics. I love numbers. I love mathematics. And one of the things, not to brag, that makes me a good operator is the fact that I love logistics. I always find the easiest way or the best flow to reach from point A to point B in the fastest way and most efficient way. And then a mentor came into my life by mere coincidence. And that person started talking to me. And we're going to give him a name because I will talk about that person a lot. And out of, how can I say this? Out of admiration and appreciation to him, I call him the Irish. And when he's mean to me, I call him the Irish leprechaun malarkey. But him and my other mentor, which I call, because he deserves the name and he shows it and wears it proud, the Marine, the two of them showed me that my success did not come from learning how to put people in the right machine or how to get people to produce the numbers. My success came from proper leadership skills. Yes, the moment that I started becoming a true leader, getting my point across, showing sincerity, and really wanting their success was what drove my coworkers to work better. Now they worked with me. We had meetings every day with me and my coworker. She learned more. She's one of the founders of the website. And we learned a lot. We both learned a lot. But I took it a step further. See, I was not happy enough with the training from my mentors. So, roughly 6 years before that, let's say 8 years ago, 7 years ago, a person that I met and very dear to me gave me a book as a gift named The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I got the book. He said, hey, I saw this book. I really thought of you when I saw it. I think you're going to have a good benefit out of it. And I said, thank you. And I put it down, I put it away, and never looked at it again. And then my mentors, around roughly, I would say 2 years ago, no, they piqued my interest. So I went online and I Googled, what is the best book for me to start reading on leadership and leadership skills and how to become a better leader? And folks, the first book that came up was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So I got the book and I started reading it. And I started reading it. And I finished it. And I grabbed another book and another book and another book. And next thing I know, I am not just being a leader. I am now wanting to lead others. All of a sudden, my position or my title didn't mean anything to me anymore. I really didn't care for it. Hey, anyone that wanted to take my job, I was willing to take it. I was willing to give it to them. When somebody said to me, I'm a welder, and I will have another welder say to me, your job is easy. Anyone can do your job. My job is hard. I say, okay, I'll tell you what. We'll switch. You do my job and I'll go and weld. Really? I said, yeah. I'd rather be on one machine with one welder working than being a group leader. But you make more money. I said, well, money is not everything. See, the peace of mind of being in one machine, one problem, one focus is peaceful to me. And they always thought that I was joking until the day came where one of them didn't show up and I needed that machine to run. Now, I could have gone and asked for other departments to bring welders, which was the proper procedure, and I did do that. And they said, well, I'm sorry. We don't have any other welders available. You can always shut down the machine. If you don't have a welder and you can weld yourself, then you can shut it down. But see, a leader does not find the word no in their vocabulary. Because the word no is a definite word. It's not like maybe. It's not like perhaps. It's not like, it's doable. No. When you say no, it's a definite answer to negating something, to saying it will not happen. So when that situation came up and I said, no, we need to run this machine. You know what? I am going to get somebody else to cover my job and I'm going to weld in a machine. He said, well, my superior says, don't overdo. And yes, I did put more stress, my co-group leader, and she had to work harder those days, but I was welding and I was enjoying it. And we were hitting rate and my numbers were good. And all of a sudden, that operator that usually was upset was very happy working with me because I didn't leave the machine unless if we had an issue where I needed to address it. And guess what, folks? That same welder that thought that my job was easy, when he seen that, he gained respect on me. And then we had an operator that always boasts on being a welder killer. He would say, there was no welder in this company that can work me out of my machine. I can outwork anyone. And folks, once again, not to brag, but I tamed that beast too, showing him my work ethics. Now, yeah, I'm bragging and I might sound cocky, but the purpose of this is I don't know if you can tell already, but my work ethics is what got me here. My work ethics have done is it got me up to the title of leadership, and then I gave it away. I gave it away to try a new journey in a new department, only to realize the lack of leadership in that department was bringing me down. To work around people that are constantly trying their best not to do their job, but to point out everything that everybody else is doing wrong, really took a toll on me. It took a toll on me even more because as a leader, the word no is not in my vocabulary. So whenever I would hear a complaint, and I say, what are we going to do about it? Oh, that's not our problem. Our problem is to point out the problem. It's their job to fix it. That really showed me that I had made a mistake. So I stepped down from that position. And my position, my previous position as a group leader was taken, and I had to go back to being a welder. Now that happened, I would say, 3 months ago? No, less than that, a month and a half ago, maybe a month. And it's been the best month of my life at that company. It's been easy, relaxed. I've just been having a blast. Every day I go in with a smile. Every day I live with a smile. But guess what? Those people in the other department couldn't take away from me. Guess what? The company could not give away. They could not give away my leadership skills and my work ethics. See, even though I stepped lateral and then down, I still have the same respect for my coworkers because they all know there's no machine in that company that I cannot run, and there's no machine in that company that I am not willing to run. When I go in through that door and I clock in, I come in to work. I don't come in to choose what to do or how to do it or when to do it. No, as soon as I clock in, I'm getting paid. And because of that reason, I give it my all. Now, when I say I give it my all is, being bipolar and being manic depressive, I have days that I really don't feel like doing much. But even when I feel 70% of my usual self, I still give 100% of that 70% that I have. And they see that. And as a matter of fact, when I am upset or something is going not so great in my life, they see that. And they actually care and they pay attention and they come up to me and say, hey, are you okay? Is everything okay? Is there something I can do for you? I'm a smoker, and sometimes I would say, I just need a cigarette. And they would go away, go and smoke a cigarette. We got you covered. Because they knew it's not something common in me. I do not show a pattern. The only pattern that I show is if you need me, I'm there. I come in to work. Now, it feels great working with people that are not trying to constantly backstab you or find ways to get you in trouble. That makes my workday a lot better. But I've made myself a promise to not be around those negative coworkers that don't want to do their jobs, that feel entitled to a position or to an employment. We have 3 shifts in the company, and I don't know, by nature, we all compete, I guess. And it's constantly, well, this shift did it, that shift did it, this shift did it. And I was falling into the same circle until I realized, hey, it don't matter what shift did it. To our customer, the company did it. Yeah, the operator or the welder in that shift might get fired, but the reputation of the company, that will not get fired with that person. That will be hurt permanently with our customer. Now, you're going to notice as you listen to this podcast more and more that the word I is not a word that I like to use much. I prefer using the word we, us, team. Because as a leader, one thing you have to learn right off the back is that a leader takes on all the mistakes. They own it. A leader of a team, every mistake made by the team, he owns it. A good leader will not blame other members of the team for the mistakes. He will address it. He will talk to his teammate, address the issue, see how he can improve it. Learning proper communication skills is very necessary, but a true leader owns those mistakes. Now, after a few times of talking to that person and saying, hey, or to the group, hey guys, hey, we need to improve on this, we need to improve on that, and no improvement shows up, well, the supervisor will step in. And the supervisor should be, even though it's in management, should also have leadership skills and realize the failure of the team, the failure of that group leader is a failure on him or her. And therefore, should not blame the group leader or the team for their mistakes. That supervisor should do the same thing as that group leader. Talk to that individual or talk to the team and say, hey, we need to improve. Now, if things don't improve, dismantle the team, bring a new team together, like any sports team do. If you see that there is a person, one individual, you remove that individual, bring in a new person into the group, probably the problem is fixed. But what we want to teach others, what we want to preach about in a sense is learning how to create more leaders within a team. Because you see, the more leaders you have in a team, when one leader falls short, the other leader can pick it up. When one leader doesn't show up, the other leader can stand up for him. See, a leader can always lead, even if they're following another leader. A follower will never lead, because the only thing they know what to do is follow. So, I will leave you with this note and this thought in mind. Are you a follower or are you a leader? And better yet, what makes you a follower or what makes you a leader? I hope you guys keep tuning in and listening for more episodes, and please give me your comments and suggestions. I am not a professional at this by any chance. As you can see, I don't even have a studio to record this in. I'm doing this in my so-called man cave, and I am doing it like this because you got to start somewhere. I mean, after all, Steve Jobs and his friend from high school did it in a garage. That's where they made their first Mac, was inside of their garage. So, yeah, I will start here now, and eventually we will go further. This is a journey that I'm willing to take with all of you, and I hope all of you are willing to take with me. And in our next episode, we will analyze what makes you a follower and what makes you a leader. But overall, it's more important for you all to remember. As my friend David Dantes always says, every day is a great day to learn something new. Take care.